Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Nate Miller. This is Paul Gibbs coming at you from NoteSpire Music. And this is our fourth and final masterclass in this series. Thank you again to Silo for inviting us to do this. We really enjoyed it. We hope you guys have been getting something out of it. And we look forward to future opportunities to go into more depth and detail about some of these subjects. But without further ado, we're going to talk about lyrics. Let's jump right in.
Lyrics. Now, if you write instrumentals, this has nothing to do with you. You can turn the video off. This does not apply.
Unless you want to collaborate with somebody. We'll be talking about that.
We'll talk about that. Yeah. So lyrics, it's like lyrics is the message of the song. It's the words. It's what we hear typically. And, lyrics, it's so much of an important part of the songwriting process. And just like everything else, it takes work. Even the simplest lyric, like maybe your favorite jingle for your favorite product, there's a lot of work went into, just a few words or a very short melody. So it's a craft, and it does take work to do it. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But we want to talk about things like style of lyrics, matching the style of the song to the style of the lyrics, matching the lyrics to the tempo of the song, the overall feel of the song, the lyrics and the way you match up your lyrics and your melody and the rest of the arrangement really can make or break a song, can it?
Right, yeah. So we talked a little bit about style and genre in the previous videos. So go back and watch them if you need a treatment on that. But when you're writing lyrics for a song, as Paul said, you want to try to match them to the style, the melody, the tempo of the song. Two big, major divisions are major and minor. If you have a song that's in a minor key, the lyrics are probably going to be a little more reflective, more deep maybe. And then you might switch to a major key, and they're going to be more celebratory or exclamatory, whatever the word would be.
Good word.
Is that a real word? I think I just made that up. Yeah. But so there's different ways musically to highlight the lyrics and the message behind what you're saying with the music. So we talked before about how rap and hip hop has more of a rapid fire, synchronized delivery of lyrics. So you're going to have
steady rhythm.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot of lyric content coming at you quickly.
Right.
So you need a lot more lyrics within a verse maybe than you would in something that's going to be more of a melodic ballad type of song. Yeah. So think about that as you're writing the lyrics. What song type are you writing for as you're writing these lyrics? You want to try to match them to the style, the tempo, the rhythms, and the melody that you're writing for.
I just thought of a good example. You think about the song "Happy Birthday." Okay, just think about that song, and if you're as a songwriter, which you probably are if you're watching this video, you know that "Happy Birthday" was written in a major key, whatever key you're doing it. It's C major, G major, whatever. Think about how that song would change. That simple little song would change if it was written in the minor.
Yeah, that's actually an exercise for people for songwriting. Take a major song, turn it to minor, and
the whole feel would be different, wouldn't it?
Totally different.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be much of a celebration in a minor key. More like a dirge.
Yeah. Anyway, so little things like that, kind of obvious, but we want to make sure we're talking about things like that.
Yeah. And so another thing to talk about is deep versus shallow lyrics, or complex versus simple. It's no secret. A lot of people have pointed this out if you watch some videos on YouTube that are talking about popular music nowadays. And this has always been the case. But there are a lot of songs out there that are very successful that if you were to strip away the music and the beat and looked at what they're actually saying, it's kind of silly. It's kind of stupid, actually. Yeah. There's not much to the lyric content. But because there's such a strong hook to the music, that's what everybody likes. They latch onto that beat or that melody, and it doesn't matter what the person is singing, the lyric content. Mm-hmm. So you can be successful, and there's nothing wrong with occasionally writing a song just for fun, not really saying much, just like throwing words out there that are fun to sing. That's okay.
Yep.
But there's a time and a place to write something that's deep, more complex, that's really saying something, expressing a meaning. And actually, we want to encourage you guys to explore that if you haven't. Tell a story with your songs. Try to have something of substance for people to listen to. It's something we're kind of lacking and missing in modern music. There's a few people that you'll hear occasionally that do that, but yeah, there's a place for that right now. I think people are really hungry for some substance beyond just like the typical pop music that maybe we're hearing on the radio. So feel free, go deep, say
Yeah.
something with meaning, that reaches people and touches them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul McCartney was, of course, the songwriting team of John Lennon and Paul McCartney, of course, the Beatles. And Paul McCartney had quite a career on his own afterwards with Paul McCartney and Wings. Just what a great songwriter. And when you said just about kind of songs being kind of shallow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not to contradict what Nate just said, but if you go back and sometimes you can have great success with a shallow love song, especially. And I think of Paul McCartney and silly love songs, and he says, some people say they've had enough of silly love songs, and he says, what's wrong with that? So, but you know what? If all we ever wrote was those, yeah, I think that would get pretty boring after a while. So, so where do we go from there? But I'm going to give another example. I want to go back and songs that were written. Some of the songs that were written in the 50s and 60s were kind of. Here's an example of a shallow, more of a shallow song. There was a song by the Vogues. It's one of many examples. A song by the Vogues called "You're the One," and the first verse says, "Every time we meet, everything is sweet. Oh, you're so tender, I must surrender. My love is your love, now and forever."
It's so cheesy.
It's
so when you hear just the lyrics by themselves, it's like,
Yeah.
really?
But go back and listen to that song.
See, it's the music that
And
makes
I
it.
actually recorded that song maybe 10 years ago just because I liked the music. I liked the way it was arranged. I liked the harmonies, the guitar. It was a great song. But again, without the music and the lyrics together,
Right.
it just didn't make it. So,
Yeah, and
yeah.
I'll say something there. Like it never. I mean, if you're like me, it's either movie quotes or song lyrics. Every day, without fail, in a conversation, someone will say it could just be a word, it could be a little phrase, and it'll trigger a song. And
Yeah.
it drives me nuts because for two reasons. One is, oh man, why didn't I think of that? It could
Yeah.
be I can't even think of an example right now, but it's just a word or two,
Yeah.
and triggers a song. Somebody wrote a whole song that now my mind is automatically latched to that. Whenever I hear that phrase, I think of that song, and I'm like, I wish I could have done that.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show you that anything could become a song.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit later about keeping ideas for songs in a notebook or something, but
Right.
be always on the lookout for words, phrases, and titles because they can become a full-blown song.
Yeah.
And then someone else will get that triggered every time they hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's talk about rhythm, shall we? Well, first of all, let's back up just a little bit. There's a saying, I don't know where it came from, but when it comes to songwriting, it says, to write it like you would say it. And there are exceptions to every rule, of course, but in general, write it like you would say it. So when you're writing a lyric, try to write write the phrase, write the sentence, all the sentences or whatever, the way that you would say them normally. And for example, put the emphasis on the same syllables. For example, I'm going to give you an example of a song here that actually this is a collaboration. We'll talk about that in a minute too. This is a collaboration. The song is called "Meant to Share," and this was written by yours truly and Ted Brennan. Ted Brennan wrote a poem, and a lot of poems can become songs. We'll talk about that a little bit too. But and here's just the words. I'm just gonna say the words. Take a look at the Bible. You'll find it there. We are meant to give. We are meant to share. Dorcas made clothes for widows in need. She gave, she shared, and they were blessed by her deed. Typical four-line stanza. And this one, I thought, we talked about syncopated rhythm. This one kind of, and I wish we could actually play the song, but I'm just gonna sing this for you. I'm gonna sing this with the melody that I came up with for this. Take a look at the Bible, you will find it there. We are meant to give, we are meant to share. Dorcas made clothes for the widows in need. She gave, she shared, and they were blessed by her deed. You see, it put the rhythm, or put the rhythm, this is a kind of a syncopated rhythm, could almost be a rap song, but putting the emphasis on the words that we would naturally emphasize as if we were saying the words. Emphasized words. Take a look at the Bible, you will find it there. Take a look at the Bible, you will find it there. We are meant to give, we are meant to share.
And that's synced with the music, the accent.
Exactly, yeah, you will find it. So I went up on that word there. Take a look at the Bible, you will find it there. Oh, an example of going, matching your melody to how the words go.
Yeah, so this is all part of phrasing. That's a good term for songwriting.
That's good. That's exactly the word I was trying to come up with.
Phrasing is a mixture of rhyme, rhythm, and repetition. And this goes back to matching your lyrics to your style, your melody, your rhythm, your tempo. Within those concepts of rhyme, rhythm, and repetition, let's talk about repetition. You can have exact repetition, that's saying the same phrase or words over and over again, or implied or a variation. This is a good way to develop your songs in terms of like the verses. You might be telling a story and you give some information in verse 1, there's a chorus, then you go back to verse 2. You don't want to repeat the same lyrics necessarily, not verbatim, but you can say the same thing in a different way. You give a little bit information, or you just repeat the same information, but change the wording, change the phrasing a little bit to give a little bit of variety. So that's a way to repeat themes and words in your music. With rhythm, we have rhythmic lyrics versus melodic. We talked a little bit about that before, whereas like rap or hip hop is very rhythmic, syncopated with the beat. I think of, here's a secular artist like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I certainly don't endorse their whole catalog, but Anthony Kiedis strikes a balance between singing, sort of rock pop vocals, and then sort of this hip hop rap style where he's speaking in a rhythmic way, where you have melodic, which would be any other song that doesn't use a rap or a hip hop delivery for the lyrics. Then we go to rhyme. Okay, so there's several different types of rhyme, and we'll both talk about this.
Yeah.
You have rhyme, it's either internal or ending rhythm or rhyme. So you're going to rhyme within a phrase or just have the ends of the lines rhyme to themselves. So here's an example from an original song that I wrote for the band that I play in, Blue Sky Falls. So this song is called Ordinary Time, and the bridge section says, "There's no rhyme or reason for this crime of treason." So that's an internal rhyme. Rhyme or reason and crime of treason are within one line, but they rhyme with each other. We just have to face the facts. And in and out of season, our love continues even. We just have to take it back. So that second and fourth line, the facts and back, are an end rhyme. And the third line has season and even. There's an internal rhyme there. There's also within that, we have perfect and imperfect rhymes. And the same example has that. So rhyme or reason and crime of treason, that's a perfect rhyme. They rhyme perfectly. But if you take face the facts and take it back, that's not a perfect rhyme, but they still rhyme. That's an imperfect rhyme. So those are two ways of doing it. So you can do perfect and imperfect rhymes, and you can rhyme internally or at the end.
Another example is what the song I just told you about earlier, You're the One. So we go back to those lyrics. Every time we meet, everything is sweet. There's an internal rhyme in the first line. Ooh, you're so tender, I must surrender. Okay. Cheesy, but they rhyme.
They rhyme.
They rhyme. And then here we go with the last line, my love is your love now and forever. That forever and surrender are
end rhymes,
end rhymes, but imperfect. Rhymes.
But imperfect, good point. And I would challenge you guys. The easy way to go is to get that end rhyme, each line or every other line ending with the same rhyme, and doing a perfect rhyme. That's kind of like, it can be done well, but it can also become cliche if you overuse it.
Right.
Really strive to get those imperfect rhymes, because that's a really creative way of doing it, and the internal rhymes. If you can have rhymes within a single line, there's some masterful things there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And remember, there's two ways. I mean, if we're talking, generally talking about a 4-line stanza here. All right, remember that the first 2 lines can have end rhymes, and and 3 and 4 can have an end rhyme.
Sure.
Or you can do 1 and 3,
Right.
or and 2 and 4.
Yeah.
Either way, if you find yourself going just to one, doing it one way all the time, well, try to change it up a little bit.
Good
or
idea.
change it up on the chorus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what about lyrics versus poetry? This is a big question that people always use. Are lyrics poetry, or can I use poetry for lyrics? We did a podcast with a local lyricist named Mike Blattenberger, and he talked about the difference between these two. So I want to say there's a little bit of an overlap. If you guys have seen those Venn diagrams, so it's like two concentric circles that cross in the middle. There's poetry that would not work as lyrics. There's lyrics that would not work as poetry, but there's a little gray area where they overlap. Lyrics can certainly be poetic, but they're not one and the same. Sometimes you could take a poem and try to put it to music, and it's not going to fit, or it just wouldn't convey a message well.
Right.
A lot of times we'll take lyrics that someone has written, we'll talk about collaboration shortly here, and we have to change them to fit the music
Right.
In rewrites. So just because you have something that looks great on paper and sounds great when you read it, it might not work musically, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So here's an example of a poem that Ted Brennan wrote, and then I'm going to read the couple stanzas and the chorus, because he actually did this. He tried to do this as a song, but Ted is not a songwriter; he's a poet.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm going to read the words, how I had to change it a little bit to make a song out of it. It's called "Created to Win," and here's the poem. First 2 verses: God gives you a destiny in your journey here below, but you'll never get to there if you fail to start and go. Second verse: what holds you back from being where God wants for you to be? You say, I have tried before. It didn't work out for me. And here's the chorus that Ted had written. Don't let failure keep you down. Get up, start over again. God did not make you to fail. He created you to win. Now, when I tried to put that to music, I found that the rhythm wasn't quite right, didn't fit the
phrasing.
phrasing, and sometimes you find that you want to have enough words to fill the beat. Okay, so here is the words as I made the song, used them in a song. God gives you a destiny in your journey here below, but you'll never get from here to there if you fail to start and go. What holds you back from being where God wants you to be? You say, I have tried before. It didn't work out for me. And then Ted went to the, I took the first 2 verses that he had written in the poem, and I combined them into that one verse that I just read for you.
You simplified it much more, yeah.
And then here's the chorus of the song. Created to win, you've got a destiny. Created to win, he wants to make you free. Don't let failure keep you down. Get up, start over again. And then that repeats. Okay. So the chorus, actually, we did repeat that. Kind of the same 4 lines. So sometimes poetry, there's an example of, as Nate said, the poem. Poems can be wonderful songs. Oh my goodness! And let's just segue into collaboration. I couldn't have written those words. I've written a lot of songs myself, but I couldn't have written those words that Ted wrote. And Ted is not a music writer,
right?
So, but boy, I tell you, when God puts our talents together, He does some amazing things.
Yeah, so we just want to encourage you guys, if you're out there, if you're a fledgling songwriter, or maybe you can come up with great parts on the piano or the guitar. You have great chord progressions. You come up with melodies, but you're not a strong lyricist. You can't come up with words, at least not ones that you'd want to sing for people, or the other way around. You can write beautiful poetry. You think maybe they can become song lyrics, but you don't play an instrument. Don't give up. We have done so many songs collaborating with either lyricists or, mostly lyricists because we're musicians, but we've written our own lyrics. But we have a lot of people who come to us with lyrics, and they need help to either create a melody, or they have a melody, but they want to create a whole song out of it.
Right.
And that's where the beauty of, working together with other people, their strong talents, I'm not the strongest lyricist. That's one of the places I'm working on in songwriting, but I can come up with great chord progressions and melodies. And so someone like Ted Brennan can come in and write original lyrics for us, but he couldn't put the music to it.
Right.
So, you know, everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, and when you put those together, you'll come up with something so much greater than the sum of the parts that you would never do on your own.
Right. Right. So if you've got, please feel free to reach out to us. If we can help you with lyrics, melody, whatever, bringing those together, or maybe might be something that we can help you with ourselves, or we can bring it together with somebody else. So please do reach out to us. And if you have to go, of course you're going to stay till the end of the video. I know you will, but just in case you don't, info@notespiremusic.com. Hey,
So let's talk about
Yeah.
a couple like tips for
let's
lyric
do that,
writing.
yes.
So we've covered kind of the mechanics of lyric writing basically, but so here's somebody said about the difference between, or not, I shouldn't say the difference, that lyric writing, just like any form of songwriting, is a combination of inspiration and perspiration.
Yeah.
I don't know what the exact percentages are, but I would say it's 20% inspiration and probably 80% perspiration.
Mm-hmm.
You might be inspired to write a lyric, or you might have some lyrics written, but you have to keep working at it to make it a success. Stick with it, because I think today, especially with the internet and people like becoming noticed or if discovered, I should say, on YouTube, we're used to this like overnight success stories. But even though that happens today more than it did in the past, where people had to wait for record labels to pick up their music, that's still an exception to the rule.
Yeah.
There are so many bands that are out there that might play for 10 years before anybody even discovers their music, or they might write 40, 50, 100 songs before they find one that actually like really connects with people.
Yeah, that's for sure.
You got to write, you got to work that muscle, flex that muscle, work your craft, keep writing, write more, write some more and keep on writing until you succeed at what you're doing.
Yeah, that's for sure. And Paul Simon, you guys probably heard of him if you've been around a little bit. One of the world's most prolific, I guess, whatever. But I mean, this guy wrote some awesome songs. Remember, from Simon and Garfunkel. And here's something that he said that he said this article about him said he was not born with the gift for melody. He wasn't born a great songwriter. He says, I work with my guitar and a legal pad, and I use about 50 pages to develop a song.
Wow, that's crazy.
So, and he just, his work, they say his work ethic was phenomenal. He stuck with it. Yeah. And he also said, interesting, we talked about this earlier, to remember I said to write it like you'd say it? He agreed. He says, I think most songs should be written in the vernacular. That is, however, that's good news and bad news, because it's writing in the vernacular means you write it like the way we all speak. But he says the bad news is that it's simply the way we all speak. So what he's saying is to, change it up just a little bit, put some special things in there, but basically to write it like you would say it.
So continuing on that idea, he said about using 50 pages for a song.
Yeah.
I would encourage you guys to keep a notebook, whether it's a physical paper notebook or you use your phone, voice memos or memo pad or whatever. Anytime you hear a word, a phrase, a title, you could be watching TV, watching videos on YouTube, talking in conversation. Anytime you hear something that sparks a little bit of interest, like a cliche, a saying, a word, something that just seems of interest to you, note it, write it down.
Don't let it get by.
Like I mentioned before, the band that I'm in, the front man, he has a memo thing on his phone that he just has song titles or like first lines of songs that he has as ideas. So whenever he needs inspiration to start a song, he'll go through there and look for ideas. Or he might be in the middle of a song and be stuck. So he'll go through this list of ideas he has, and sometimes he'll find one that will fit exactly what he needs and that he's missing to finish a song. So keep these things. And the other thing is save everything. You might start to write a song and think, okay, this is a full-fledged song, and you get so far and you get stuck. And maybe that goes on the back burner and it sits there for a year or two and you never do anything with it. you would be surprised. You might not realize how a piece of that
Yep.
might come back and help
Yep.
you to finish a totally different song that just needed that little bit of lyric or inspiration or idea. So
That's happened to me several times.
write everything down
Yeah.
and save it.
Yep, that's right. Another tool in your arsenal of songwriting should be some kind of rhyming dictionary. And I didn't. I had.
Yeah, so there's physical
okay.
ones you
I
can
had one-
purchase,
yeah.
or they're available online in
They're-
digital format.
Yeah, and please don't depend on the online one. Use the online. If you got your phone, use it. But I'll tell you what, there is something fantastic, something awesome about having a written one.
Yeah.
Okay, please you get both, and get one that's going to give you different numbers of syllables, like one syllable words up to 3, 4, 5, 6 syllables, because those can help you not just do the find words, but find phrases.
Yeah.
I've got one here that I was going to hold up and show, but it's a rhyming dictionary. It's like this thick, and it's got from one word to phrases, which will help you, and it's helped me immensely in my
It helps
songwriting.
you to say the same thing in a different way
Yeah.
without repeating yourself, which is great.
Yeah, and ideas too. Give you
Yeah.
ideas for verses and things when you need something.
And then I guess one more final thing I would say as a tip: if you do write melodies and you're having trouble writing lyrics, or just figuring out where to start, I would say there's two different ways to start with writing lyrics and melodies together. Either the melody can suggest the lyrics, so you could take an existing melody from another song, remove the lyrics, and try writing your own original lyrics to that melody. Now, you're not going to use that person's melody, but that will just help you to create words that will fit in the structure with the phrasing that we talked about before, and then
Yeah.
you're going to recreate your own melody to those lyrics. That might help you to write lyrics where you can't figure out how to do that. Or go the other way around, which I think Paul sort of hit on at the beginning of this video. Start with your lyric, say the lyric out, read it out loud, just speaking. Read it with inflection. Where does your voice rise? Where does it fall? Where does it quicken a little bit? Where does it slow down? And use that to help to inform or suggest the melody that you write. When your voice rises up in pitch, take the melody up there. When you speed up, maybe the music is, the chords are going to be ascending into like major or something. And then when it drops back, you might drop back on a chord change or go back into minor. So sometimes the lyric can suggest the melody or vice versa.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
So I hope that's been of help to you folks.
We throw a lot of information at you.
Yeah, please do get in touch with us if maybe you've got something you need a little help with. Maybe you've got a song written, or you've got some lyrics written, and you just want a fresh pair of eyes to look at it. We do that. We'll be happy to. Whatever questions you have, just if we can answer a quick question for you, we'd be happy to do that. info@notespiremusic.com. And I want to. This thought just came to me, and I want to share this with you, as Nate was saying, and we were both saying about being, working at it. And I'll say it this way: if you're a songwriter, write songs. Write songs. Keep doing it. Save all the things that we just said.
Yeah.
If you're a songwriter, write songs. And don't give up. Keep doing it. And again, if we can be of any help, we would love to do that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that's all. Thanks again to our friends at Silo for inviting us to be part of this masterclass series, and we look forward to doing some more in-depth tutorials and masterclass sessions in the future.
Hope we see you guys in person sometime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great. Until then, take care of yourself.
And take care of each other.
Bye-bye.